Today we're going to talk about the 5 tips or 5 keys to writing an instrumental cue. Let's go. Hi, my name is Steve Collum for the secrets to musicsuccess.com. Today we're going to talk about the 5 tips or 5 keys to writing an instrumental cue. Now, the first thing you might ask is, well, what's the difference between an instrumental cue and an instrumental? And so a lot of the time people refer to instrumental as, let's just say you got a song off the radio, it's got vocals on it, you've got the main song that you hear, and then you've got the instrumental mix, which is no vocals. So it's just a straight instrumental, as it says. That's often what people kind of refer to as the instrumental. Now, when you're writing an instrumental cue, it's more for, it's more for film and TV. It's more for placements. It's more for sync. So what you'll actually find is you'll have like maybe, and we're going to dive into what that is really. But it's a lot shorter. It's like a minute 30 to 2 minutes, somewhere around there. And a regular song is like what? 3 minutes-ish, somewhere around there. So let's dive right in. And actually, before we dive right in, let me just tell you a little bit about these tips and these little secrets are things that I've been doing for the last 10 years. I've been in the instrumental film and TV world for the last 10 years, and this has got me thousands of placements. So these are great tips that if you use, I use them all the time. Every day I'm using these. So let's dive right in. So number 1 is you've got to have one motive or one theme. Just like when you're writing a song, you're trying to say that one thing, and it's the same thing with an instrumental cue. You want it to be one thing. Let's say you're doing a big sports rock kind of thing. Go straight into it, like with a big riff. Go straight into it. Don't give us this like long introduction that kind of like builds up to it, that's kind of like starts off with something like maybe a beautiful harp or something that sounds really pretty, and then we go into the hard rock. No, just jump straight into that hard rock. And if you want to do a beautiful cue, if you want to do a beautiful kind of acoustic guitar, something that sounds really pretty and beautiful, save it for a whole nother instrumental cue. You want to get straight to the point, because what happens is a lot of the music editors, they'll be looking at songs and they need a spot for, I don't know, maybe it's a highlight reel for a football game or something. So you got guys throwing ball, guys smashing into each other. They don't want anything beautiful. They don't want that part. They want maybe high energy rock. They just want that big sports kind of thing. So you want to just start with that one motive, like 1, 2, 3, like they just push play. Maybe it's a drum fill, ba-ba-da-ba-da, and then you're straight into that cue. Now let's flip-flop and say, okay, and hanging on to that motive, you've got to hold that motive all the way through. You got a big rock. Now let's flip-flop and go over to that beautiful sound. Maybe it's on a nature show or something, and they're overlooking this beautiful, and they're doing a slow pan with the camera, and it's overlooking this beautiful scenery or something. Then they don't want anything rock. They're going for that beautiful sound. So if you have those beautiful kind of sounds, that pretty sound, that's the kind of thing you want to get straight to that. So you don't give us a big rock drum fill into this beautiful thing. You give it to them straight away, because guess what? They're only going to play it for a few seconds, and if it's the wrong thing, they're like, no, I'm not looking for beautiful, not looking for pretty, I'm looking for sports. I'm looking for a high energy. So that's what they're only going to give you 2 seconds, 3 seconds max before they're kind of like, yeah, I don't think so, and they go on to the next one. So you've got to keep it on that one motive. So what I normally do for my structure with cues, and you can do them a lot of different ways, but this is a very common structure that works really well. It's an A, B, A. So the first section is, maybe it's 16 measures, depending on what the tempo is. Maybe it's 16 measures, and you've got this big, let's just go to that sports rock kind of thing, big, you got a big riff happening, and you add other instruments. Maybe the drums does some extra fills, and you got a shaker come in. Like, you want to be changing something every couple of couple of measures, maybe every 2 measures add something, or every 4 measures definitely add something, another instrument comes in, so you want to be changing it. Maybe the riff changes, like you've got like whatever it is, it just changes and it does something that moves it. So in that first section, it's maybe high energy, and then in the middle section, maybe you've just got some open chords. So well, maybe the shaker's going, or maybe the bass is still going, dun, 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 and while you do this big open, so it changes and it goes down to more of a B section that's kind of like a little softer, and then you jump straight back into your hard rock kind of part, and then you go straight in, and on that second time through, on that, so it goes A, B, A, on that second A section, build it so it's different to that first section, make it bigger somehow, maybe some strings come in there, maybe a tambourine comes in there, maybe the drums go to the ride. There's so many different elements you can kind of change, and I'm just talking sports rock. If you were talking about some sort of beautiful kind of let's say acoustic guitars, harps, some pianos and stuff like that, then maybe in your piano on the second the second A section, maybe go up an octave, or maybe add some bells in there, or maybe the harp echoes that. So you can always keep it a little bit different. So you can kind of keep changing it. So number one is you've got to keep that motif or that theme. You got to keep it on that feeling the whole time. Don't go into a totally different style or anything just to be creative. Keep it on that one thing. So that's number one. Number two is it's always good to have a melody if you can. And the reason why is because melodies grab people. Melodies are hooky. Melodies are something that's it's great to have. So I always try to put a melody. Now, if you're doing let's say crime scene investigation, where it's kind of like tension kind of cues, then the melody is not really going to work in that. But if you can do a melody, because a lot of the times you get asked for an instrumental part or a stripped down part, and if you have a melody in there, you can just take it out. So, but of course, at the end of the day, don't just throw a melody in there if it doesn't really work for the song. So use the song and that genre, keep it in that genre, so that you can, so that'll fit and it won't sound like, well, what's this weird instrument doing this thing, So, all right, jumping in, moving right along. Number 3 is edit points. Now, you might know what an edit point is, but edit points are gold. They're so good. Now, an edit point is exactly that, a place in the song where the editor can just cut and jump into it. So you'll find that when you do edit points in your instrumental cue, you get them used so much more, because first of all, that music editor, maybe they use the first part of your song, and there's an nice clean edit point at the end, and they can cut it right there at the end of that little section. Let's just say that first section that goes for 16 measures, and they can just cut that there. And then they're like, I like that composer. That guy worked out well. I liked that cue, because if they're putting it if they're syncing it to the video, then they're working on the video and they're listening to your track over and over as they're fine-tuning and making sure that video is good to that song. So they've listened to your track quite a few times, and they're digging it. They think they like it, and then they're gonna want to use it again. But in a way, they can't use it, let's just say 5 minutes later in the TV show or whatever. They can't use it. They don't want it to go back to the same one. So they want another section of the song that they can maybe go to. So their show is constantly moving. There's constantly, it's not they're just using the one song a bunch of times. So they can, if you have an edit point or somewhere where they can cut, they can go to the other section of the song and cut that and use that. And even if you've got edit points in between all the sections, there's even more opportunities. So they've even more, maybe they only want 10-second part. Maybe they only want a 13-second. And so if you've got all these edit points, they can cut that. So edit points are gold. And so I highly recommend that you always start putting edit points in your songs. Now, edit points can come in many different ways. You can do like a strum and or a ring out of a note or something, and it's like boom. That's a great one where it kind of pans, it kind of goes down, volume dynamics goes down. They can cut right there and it comes into the fast part. Or at the end of a part, you go da na 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 da 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 boom, and you're into that like other X section. So like the B section. So there's so many different ways to find edit points. And once you start looking at edit points, you'll see them so much on TV, and it just makes their job easier. So, all right, number 4. So no key changes, modulations, or tempo changes. Do that right now. Make sure you do not have tempo changes or modulation key changes, or any of that kind of thing. The reason is because going back to point 1 is you're keeping on the same mode if you're keeping in the same key. So you've got to make sure that you've got that one tempo, because what happens if they really love the last part of your song, the stinger or something? They love that and they want to use that stinger right after 10 seconds of the song. So they only want they only got a little spot for it, and so they want that spot right in there. Guess what? If you have a key change, all of a sudden they can't do that. They can't cut that and move that over. If you have tempo change, nope. So don't do that. No key changes, no tempo changes. Save that stuff for your artist stuff. Like, save that up for your special things that you show all your friends and that you release on an album, and maybe you go on tour, or maybe you open up your show with some of those kind of those special kind of ones. Save it for that, but not in film and TV, not in the cues. They're not. That's a no. All right, number 5, no fade outs. So that's another one. So number 5, no fade outs. And why? You could probably guess, because at the very end of the song, they want that last dum. They don't want a fade out where there's no strong ending, because they don't have time to use a fade out on a TV show or in a spot. They're going wall to wall with video. When was the last time you saw a fade out, other than movies or anything? Even movies don't do it. They go straight to the credits as they're listening to the music. So you don't often have this gradual 1 minute fade out where the picture goes slowly darker to black. Everything's so much quicker, and so you got to make sure that you know fade outs. Just end with an exact ending. Now, I often end on the root chord of the song because that's pretty. They often want that. They want that completed feel. They want that completed. So da 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 dun. If they want that completed, done kind of feel, then they'll do that. If you end on a 5 chord, on the 5th chord of the chord progression or the key, it can feel like it's up in the air. Is it really finished? So why would they want that? When they're finishing that section and they're going on to a new section. So they often resolve it back to the 1st chord, so the root key. So awesome. Okay, I'm going to throw in a bonus tip for you guys. So if you want to get more placements, and if you want to be doing the right kind of music, you've got to research. Now, research is often hard for a lot of people, including me, trying to do the research, and it's like, oh, I just want to get going and do it. But you could be writing an instrumental cue and doing something that there's not much demand out there. There's not much, nobody wants that kind of sound, and so you've got to make sure that you're researching and finding out what are they using, and then you write that, and then you send that to your contacts, to your publishers. That's the key to be getting placements and be able to do this full time. Trust me, I know you got to give them what they want. I'm a guitarist and I love guitar solos. I used to, I studied Joe Satriani and all Steve Vai and all that, and I love doing all that shredding kind of stuff. But guess what? They're not asking for that, so I don't do it. And I save it for my own stuff. Actually, it's funny because sometimes I'll be recording parts, and I got my electric guitar in the hand, and I just riff. I'm just like jamming for 5-10 minutes. I'm like, all right, you got that out of your system. Now let's go ahead and put a part down instead of doing finger tapping and all this kind of crazy stuff. So they're not asking for that. They don't want that. They just want this big riff, or they just want this emotion, this feel. That's the main thing they want. So awesome. I know you guys got a lot out of this. So please go ahead and give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notifications, because YouTube will always bring the videos up higher, the ones that are liked, and that have more subscribers. So we're aiming to try and get to our 1,000 subscribers. I think we have a little under 500. So please share this video with your friends. Help us get to the 1,000 subscribers. And then also, I just wanted to let you guys know, if you want a free PDF on mixing tips and a free PDF on pop songwriting tips, head over to thesecrets2musicsuccess.com and download that free PDF. And I know you got a lot out of this, so enjoy writing your next instrumental cue, and I'll see you in the chats.